Big Ten softball season is in full bloom. The cherry blossoms are popping in the quad, and it's a gorgeous day in Seattle for Game 2 of the weekend between the Washington Huskies and the Wisconsin Badgers. And Brooke, let's jump right into the highlights from Game 1.
Glab here reached on a 4-pitch walk in the 10th, and with 2 outs, Charity Seva-Atasi hit the game-winning double to walk it off in extra for the Huskies.
Thriller of a series opener, 10 innings. There you see Seva-Atasi getting swarmed by her teammates out by second base after the game-winning double. And let's check out the full stat sheet from that game as well. A low-scoring pitcher's duel. Most of those 13 hits came in extras. It took a long time for the bats to come alive.
Yeah, and Wisconsin only used one pitcher, Gabby Salo, going the distance last night for the Badgers, throwing 9.2 innings in all 180 pitches last night. Washington using both Sophia Ramuno getting the start in the circle and then working to freshman Morgan Reimer, who got her 13th win of the year last night.
And Reimer now with almost half of the wins for Washington this year, as the Huskies are 27-9, 5-2 in Big Ten play, and now riding a 7-game win streak into Game 2 of this series. You look at Wisconsin, 22-13, 6-5 in conference, and trying to bounce back after losing the series opener. Now today's starting pitcher, it's a right-handed senior, Stevie Hansen.
Stevie, a transfer from Oregon. We've seen her a lot as Washington's Saturday or Game 2 starter. She's going to work in the low 60s. She's going to work all around the zone with her curve, rise, screw, and change. So a pretty similar look for these Badgers as they saw last night with Sophia Ramuno. A little bit different velocity, but similar look with working glove side with her curveball and up in the zone with that rise ball. So I would anticipate to see a lot of pop-ups again today, Jason.
And many of the numbers you saw there rank among the Big Ten best. Hansen is 4th in the conference with a whip of .9, leads the Big Ten in shutouts with 4, and she's 7th in the Big Ten in ERA. Now a peek at the Wisconsin batting order. Again, it was pretty slow from the get-go. Molly Schlosser did have a crucial hit to drive in a run in the 8th. But do you think this Badger lineup can't be quieted for too long, Brooke?
I think last night, just for both teams, such quiet offensively. We didn't see a long ball. We didn't really see much scoring either. And that's a lot of credit to the pitchers for limiting those free passes across 10 innings.
And just 1 extra base hit per side in the series opener. And now we're ready for Game 2 as Hansen throws right down Broadway for strike 1. Olivia Bark came into this series on a tear, hitting .350 for the season, but she was shut out last night, went 0 for 5 at the dish. And the Wisconsin lineup this year scoring almost 5 runs per game. I think both sides feel more confident in their defense and pitching than perhaps their offense, but Wisconsin has plenty of pop. Top 20 nationally in doubles this season.
And this is a Washington pitching staff that is on track to have 3 pitchers with 10-plus wins. Reimer already has 13, Hansen with 7 coming into today, and Ramuno with 6. So the last time the Huskies achieved this stat was in 2012. With Caitlin Inglesby having 19, Casey Stanchek with 10 wins on the season, and Brianna Walker with 10. So looking to make some history in the circle for this Washington pitching staff.
And some interesting dynamics at play between the two sides, with Wisconsin trusting Salo to throw all 9 2/3 yesterday. Washington split the 10 evenly between Reimer and Ramuno. And of course that leaves Hansen still fresh for today, with Washington having the 3-headed monster.
Yeah, we saw some activity with Hansen yesterday in the bullpen, but ultimately trying to save her for the start today.
2 balls, 2 strikes for Bark. And she rolls this one in front of home. Hansen charges and throws her out just in time for the first out of the ballgame.
Good rise ball there by Hansen. Working that thing up and in on the hands of Bark, just jamming her and inducing that ground ball. Doing a nice job getting it done herself there, fielding it in time, in rhythm, over to Alexis DeBoer at first.
Hansen's had some spectacular outings this season. Perfect game back in early March. Added a one-hit shutout and a run rule victory against Rutgers 2 weekends ago. And now she's got another conference matchup here against a stellar Badger squad. 0-1 count for Molly Schlosser.
Nice curveball there. Looks like just missing the inner half by a sliver.
Meanwhile, Schlosser comes in, one of the better Wisconsin hitters. 1 for 3 yesterday. Had an RBI single in the 8th to give Wisconsin the lead. And she smacks this one deep right field. Flores on the run, and it sails over her head. Wisconsin's already matched their extra base hit total from yesterday. A one-out double for Molly Schlosser. And Schlosser, the first Badger this season to rack up double-digit doubles with 10.
She's got that extra base power, but she's also got the speed on the base pass, leading the team with 12 stolen bags. We saw her last night get thrown out by Jaden Glab.
Good chance that she would score here if Blomberg can deliver a single. Hansen jumps ahead 0-1. Blomberg was 1 for 4 yesterday with a base knock. And takes that one just off the plate, 1-1.
Hansen wanted that one. The fans wanted that one, and I'm not sure where that one missed. Maybe on the outer half in the river a little bit, but good curveball there by Hansen.
And brings the heat. Blomberg's behind it, 1-2. Also seen some shifts in this Wisconsin offense from a year ago. Head coach Yvette Healy told us that last year they hit a lot of home runs. They had 59 of them, but they were mostly solo shots, and they haven't shown that same power this season, but they're finding the power alleys with a lot of doubles.
Kind of had to do some reevaluating in the offseason. Like you said, they hit all the home runs, which is great, but they didn't get the wins out of it. And if you're not able to produce the wins with all of the long balls, trying to look back at, okay, what does our on-base percentage look like? And imagine if there was runners on, how many more ball games we would have been able to win. So putting a lot of priority in just getting runners on and taking hacks early, healthy hacks at pitches that you can drive.
The Badgers 21-31 a year ago, 8-15 in conference. Below average for Healy, who has guided Wisconsin to 6 NCAA tournaments. And they only have 9 in program history. Their best years have come under their current head coach. So a good first inning battle here between Blomberg and Hansen, with Schlosser on second after the one-out double. Payoff pitch. Pop up, foul territory, and DeBoer is able to camp under it for out number 2.
Nice spot with that curveball by Hansen. Working deep into that 3-2 count. We've seen plenty of those curveballs in that at-bat, but taking a look again at Schlosser's double, just staying through this changeup, a little bit too much plate with that changeup, but doing a nice job of turning on it and sending it out there.
Here's Kendra Lewis with 2 down. The freshman DP went 1 for 3 yesterday, a single and a sac bunt. And the only Badger hitting above 400 this season. Hits that one past Bubke at second, and it rolls into right center. Schlosser's around third and crosses home. Once again, Wisconsin strikes first. It's 1-0 Badgers. And it took a little longer yesterday in the series opener. Wisconsin crossed one run in the fourth before Washington tied it in the fifth, and they kept trading blows, each scoring one in the eighth before Washington finally put the game to rest in the 10th. And Wisconsin said, we're not wasting any time here on Saturday. So we got a pinch runner at first base with Riley Crane subbing in for Lewis. And Brooke Cuffle, the batter. And takes a healthy hack, 0-1.
Going to be crucial for Hansen today to continue to work ahead in counts, but really working that curveball off of the plate. So continuing to work and keep that curveball on the outer half as Wisconsin's taking advantage of these early plated pitches.
Crane at first base, a junior from Tucson. Often enters as a pinch runner. Did the same yesterday. One, belted center field. Craig's on the run, and it's off the wall. The throw cut off. DeBoer could have had Cuffle in a pickle, but didn't want to let Crane score from third base. So both the Badgers get back to their bags on the corners, and Wisconsin continues the threat in the first.
Money throw by Craig out there. And good field by Alexis DeBoer, knowing that the run wasn't probably going to come across based on how far she was rounding. So good feel there, being able to split the runners with 2 outs, leaving a runner at first base. Changes this ball game versus having both runners in scoring position.
So a rare single off the wall. And Cuffle got all of this thing, but you're right, Brooke. Tremendous defense by Craig in center.
Beautiful throw, in line, in rhythm. But we see right there Coach Healy holding her up at the end. And Alexis DeBoer taking advantage of that.
Yeah, that was kind of like approaching an intersection and the light turns red. And Crane thought she was going to get the sign to go home, and then they had to slam on the brakes. So 2 down, runners on the corners, and here's Danielle Lucy.
Lucy wanted the hit by pitch there.
I whizzed just past the elbow guard. So Crane at third after pinch running for Lewis. Cuffle at first. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lucy was 0 for 3 at the dish yesterday, but she made some sensational defensive plays, including throwing out a runner at home on a fly ball to deep center. One. Lucy puts it down. Durst comes out, throws up the line. It's off the back of Lucy and into right field. Crane has scored. Cuffle has galloped down to third base, but the call is out. And for Lucy, running in front of that throw up the first base line. So it will just be 1-0, middle of the first here in Seattle.
Top of the first for the Badgers, 1 run on 3 hits, no errors, 2 left on base after half an inning of play. Our score is the Badgers 1 and the Huskies coming up.
Wisconsin almost came up with a multi-run first inning, but a runner's interference call ends the top of the first.
Durst picks it up quick, establishes the throwing lane on that inside, and just runs into the helmet of Lucy. So the call on the field is runner interference as Durst established that inside throwing lane.
And still the Badgers draw first blood here, scoring on 3 hits in the first inning. Schlosser with a double and then a couple of singles to bring home that individual run. And Molly Jacobson is able to come to the circle with a lead.
Molly Jacobson, a transfer from Virginia Tech, primarily going to work down in the zone with her drop ball, throwing it on both sides of the plate. Also working with that change, that curve, and that rise. That curve and rise are very spinny pitches, so going to be crucial for this Washington offense to take advantage of that drop ball here today.
Eva Carroll pulls back on a pitch upstairs. Solid numbers for Jacobson, sub-4 ERA over 62 innings. Start number 9 of the season for the graduate student from Waukee, Iowa. And Carroll loops this one into shallow center. She stays red hot. After going 3 for 4 yesterday, she's got a leadoff single in the Huskies' first at-bats of Game 2.
Exactly who you want in the leadoff spot. Swinging a hot bat, leading her dogs there with the leadoff on and passing the torch to freshman sensation Alexis DeBoer.
This is a particularly tough spot for opposing pitchers. When that leadoff batter gets on, and then they have to face DeBoer, who squares to bunt and then pulls back and sees strike 1. You don't see her squaring to bunt all too often. The number 11 recruit in the nation, an All-American out of Bellevue High School.
DeBoer pretty quiet yesterday, 1 for 3 with a walk. So I hate to say any players do, but if somebody's due, I'd have to say it's Alexis DeBoer.
And she did have a clutch single in the 8th yesterday when the Huskies needed 1 run to extend the ball game. Helped the Dogs put together that rally. 1-1, runs inside. DeBoer top 5 in the Big Ten in both home runs and RBI. 8th in slugging percentage. She awaits the 2-1. Absolutely annihilates that one, but it's foul.
Definitely a hitter's pitch there. That drop ball, just too much plate, and DeBoer just hooking it foul. Just the pitch you want to get your swing off on. We saw lots of changes out of Gabby Salo last night, so curious if that's the similar approach in the circle for the Badgers today.
DeBoer sends that one down the right field line, and it twists all the way into the corner. Carroll's around third, and the relay is held as DeBoer trots into third base. A stand-up triple, and the Huskies draw even in the first.
DeBoer's first triple of the season. Nice swing, staying through it, sending it down the line, able to score Ava Carroll from first. Showing off a little speed there for the freshman.
Batting third, the designated player number 4, Jayden Glab.
So the Huskies in business here in the first inning as Jayden Glab digs in and takes a first pitch strike. Well, the pitchers today have to deal with some irritated and hungry offenses. We're frustrated by last night's pitchers duel.
Certainly. Last night's a night where you go home, you change, you shower, and you immediately go watch film, and you're seeing what are these pitchers throwing me and what am I getting beat on? And like you said, hungry for today to do something different and make an adjustment.
Glab's looking for her first hit of the series, although she had 2 walks yesterday. Ball and 2 strikes with DeBoer smiling there over at third. And still catching her breath after that RBI triple. Glab rolls it foul.
And as we talked with head coach Heather Tarr earlier, she had talked about how Jayden Glab is a rock for this program, being one of only 4 returners, and her ownership about what she needed to do and wanted to do is second to none, and exactly who you need leading this young squad.
Jacobson's 1-2. And both these teams have a lot of youngsters. For Washington, there's the added complex of having 16 newcomers with all the transfers. And Heather Tarr kind of compared this season to jump-starting a car, where you get excited when it starts going, but then all of a sudden it needs more fine-tuning. Grounder towards short. DeBoer will gallop home as Hubbard whistles it over to first base. Glab notches an RBI on the fielder's choice, and the Huskies take the lead in the bottom of the first.
And here's Alexis DeBoer again. This drop ball on the outer half, staying through it, a half of the plate that DeBoer loves to hit on, and getting her first triple of her career.
Alicia Flores takes the first pitch upstairs, and semi-noteworthy, I think, Brooke, that the pitch prior to that one, DeBoer turned it down the left field line and got all of it, and she was able to instantly make the switch and take that pitch on the outer half to the right field corner. And Flores turns that one into the Husky dugout.
And that's the foul ball. You're glad there's a net there, because there was 0 time to react on how hard she turned on that one.
One out, base is empty. We already have more runs today than we saw through 7 innings yesterday, as the offenses have erupted early.
Flores last night in the 8th hit the sacrifice fly to left field to tie the game at 2.
Two one. Just a little outside. Flores, a 6th-year player, spent her first 2 collegiate seasons at Oklahoma, then a couple of years at Boise State. 2-time All-Mountain West second-team honoree. Playing year number 6 with Washington. And that one just barely clipped her. A hit by pitch on the 3-1 offering. And we we talked about the accuracy of these pitchers yesterday too, Brooke. They do not issue many walks on either side.
Yeah, not a lot of free passes. Both pitching staffs putting emphasis on throwing strikes early, getting ahead, which allows you some unique abilities with your out pitches. We saw a lot of chasing rise balls. We saw a lot of strikeout looking changeups last night.
Alvarez takes a strike on the outer half. Jacobson came in with 18 walks in 62 innings, so that's only one every 3.5 frames. Her 0-1. Dips outside. Alvarez was one of 2 Huskies yesterday with multiple hits, went 2 for 3 with a pair of singles, also had a walk and a hit by pitch. Ropes that one foul. The Huskies missed her for 8 games in early March, and they must be ecstatic to have her back in the lineup.
Yeah, to have a veteran over on the left side at third. We saw a bunch of savvy defensive plays over there by her yesterday, and so a familiar, steady leadership face at third in Alvarez.
One of only 4 returners for the Huskies. Count moves to 2-2.
Building off of what we saw out of her yesterday defensively, head coach Heather Tarr talked about Giselle has the ability to be one of the best third basemen we've ever had at Washington.
A whole lot of potential in the batter's box right now for the Huskies, and she loops this one to right center. Kuffel hustling over, and she makes the catch for out number 2.
Alvarez taking this outside pitch, just getting under it a little too much. Ball hit too high to make something out of it there.
Tia Durst takes the first pitch for a strike.
Durst, a transfer from a junior college. Her dad actually played baseball at Wisconsin, and her mom played a little bit of collegiate soccer too.
And there are a fair number of Midwesterners on this Husky squad. And Durst hailing from Sycamore, Illinois, in the Chicago suburbs. You look at the Wisconsin side, it's almost the opposite. 64% of the Badgers are from Wisconsin or Illinois, and they are really recruiting in the upper Midwest.
Yeah, a lot of Midwesterners who are making their first trip out west to Seattle. They did a little bit of sightseeing, was able to see Pike Place Market earlier this week.
Well, one of the recommendations you had for Yvette Healy when she asked us, what do we need to do when we're in the Emerald City? And I wonder if someone was able to catch a fish.
Yeah, that was something we did on our official visit. Someone in the recruiting class was either volunteered or voluntold to go catch the fish, and I actually got up there and caught the fish, but they just toss it right in your hand, so they make it pretty easy.
1-2 for Durst.
Just the sixth batter to come to the plate for the Huskies, but thus far I'm noticing with Jacobson throwing that drop ball on either side that a lot of these hitters are kind of picking a side to work with. We've seen the ones that are taking the drop ball arm side and turning hard on it. We've seen head coach Heather Tarr pulling off a little bit with the third base coach's box.
2-2 sails high and outside.
We saw Alexis DeBoer earlier taking that drop ball on the outer half to the right side, so feeling like the approach as a Washington Husky today is just picking a side and getting your swing off on that side that you're committed to.
Durst can expect something to hit here. Full count. But Jacobson misses. The second free pass of the first inning. And the Huskies continue a 2-out rally. Washington started this frame with a couple of hits. Ava Carroll with a single. Alexis DeBoer with her first triple of the season. But Flores and Durst both aboard via free passes, and now it's Addie Craig. Just the 10th start of the season for the freshman from Snoqualmie, Washington, who started at Mount Si High School. Had the third highest batting average in the KingCo League last year here in the Puget Sound region. And she's behind 0-2. And that 100 average, a result of 2 hits over 20 at-bats. Earning a big one here in a Big Ten series. On the ground towards short. Hubbard throws a little high, but not too high for Bark to bring it in. And that's it for the Dogs in the first. 2 runs on 2 hits, including the RBI triple from Alexis DeBoer. And the Huskies will roll into the second with a 2-1 lead.
Hey fans, you can stay up to date with today's game stats by heading to GoHuskies.com/SB-Stats. That's GoHuskies.com/SB-Stats. You can also scan any of the QR code digital rosters located around Husky Softball Stadium.
More runs in the first inning today than we had in 7 innings yesterday. It's 2-1 Huskies as we go into the top of the second. A couple of great programs squaring off in Seattle this weekend. Wisconsin led by Yvette Healy, her 15th year managing the Badgers. The winningest coach in Wisconsin history, and has led the Badgers to 6 of the program's 9 NCAA tournament appearances. It'll be the 7, 8, and 9 hitters for Wisconsin in the second, starting with Emmy Wells.
Wells, a redshirt senior catcher. We saw the sweet play out of her last night at home on the bang-bang play. Throw took her up the line, was able to hang on to it and make just a, I think, SportsCenter a little bit of top 10 play at the plate.
The catchers last night were spectacular. Jaden Glab throwing out a couple of runners. Wells tossed one out at second. One offering.
Yeah, last night was definitely the pitchers and catchers show. We were kind of just, it was their world. We were living in it, and just based on how this game is going today, I think this offense is ready to have a little part in this series.
Wells batting .207 for the season, but slugging .427 with 10 extra base hits. And count even now.
We saw a lot of curveball on the outer half get hit pretty hard last half inning, so I wouldn't be surprised this inning to see more screw, some more rise, just working more arm side to these right-handed hitters.
And Stevie Hansen into her second inning of work. The former Oregon Duck in her first season as a Husky. And that one's fair, just over the pillow at third. And Wells slides into second with a leadoff double. The Badgers add to their two-bagger tally for the season. And Wisconsin entered this weekend top 20 nationally in doubles with 60 of them, and they're now at 63.
Yeah, doing a good job of executing on this hitter's pitch. This rise ball, just too much plate for that leadoff hitter to work with, and Emmy Wells taking advantage of it with the leadoff double.
Wells with 7 doubles on the season. And Stevie Hansen will have to battle again this frame. Schlosser had a 1-out double in the first and wound up scoring on a Kendra Lewis single.
With that, we're getting a little bit of action in the Washington bullpen. We've got Riley Rabine. We last saw her throw against Illinois, and freshman sensation Morgan Reimer getting loose out there as well. We saw her last night in the 10-inning thriller.
We also have a pinch runner replacing Wells. It's Mackenzie Foster who's entered. She pinch ran in the 8th inning yesterday and scored Wisconsin's go-ahead run before the Huskies tied it in the bottom of the frame and went on to win. And Foster, a transfer from Syracuse, where she made 44 starts and batted almost 300 as a freshman last year. Decided to transfer back to the Midwest after growing up in Columbus, Indiana. Ellie Hubbard squares the bunt, pops it up first base side, and it trickles foul.
And that's that rise ball, just getting the best of Ellie Hubbard on the bunt. When you have a pitcher that's spinning the ball up in the zone and you get the bunt sign, you got to do a good job of getting to the top of the zone and trying to bunt the top half of that ball. Because if your top hand isn't strong enough, the spin's going to take over and that bunt's going to be popped up, which we just saw there.
That one's off the glove of Durst and rolls to the backstop. And Wells moves up a base.
And senior Stevie Hansen will be joined for a conference from Brad Kilpatrick in his first season with Washington, coming from the University of Florida as a student manager, working primarily with the pitchers, working with them through the Women's College World Series last year. Quite the resume himself as a pitcher for the U.S. men's national team, and a bronze medalist with the Team USA. He was a part of the 2018 gold medal team for the Australian U18 men's softball world championship team. And so Florida head coach Tim Walton just had said, Brad has an outstanding softball mind and is going to do great things as a pitching coach. He said in all his years of coaching, he's never seen someone pitch the ball quite like Brad. So as a Washington hitter, I'm sure lucky to have Brad on staff to throw.
So, Brooke, Wisconsin didn't acknowledge this until just now, but Foster was called out for leaving second base early. So just as the Badgers looked like they'd have a runner at third base, she's taken off the base paths. They're now empty with one down.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that's the third time between these two games and two teams that a base runner has been left or has left the base early.
Yeah, each side had one yesterday. And the way this series has been played, every single base runner is going to be vital.
Those are just costly mistakes, even as early in the game as we are right now. That can't happen. You get a runner on there, lead off on. Got to just make sure you're staying on the base.
And a punch out. Hubbard's rung up as Hansen tallies her first strikeout. A fortuitous swing for the Huskies. A runner called out for leaving early, and then Hansen locks in for a K. And now the 9-hitter, Emily Bojan.
Nice job by Hansen getting ahead early with that curveball on the outer half. Bit of a better spot located than we saw in the first inning.
Foul tip, and Hansen leaps ahead 0-2.
Back-to-back curveball, just kind of walking it out there, trying to see how far Bojan is willing to swing at it.
Hansen wastes one there.
Trying to see, are you willing to go all the way out there with my curveball? You got to test it, though. 2 back-to-back curveballs, and she's willing to take the one. She's taking the one on the corner, and now she's swinging at the one on the river. I like testing it.
Let's see what she throws here with the 1-2. Goes upstairs, and it's 2-2. Hansen with velocity in the low 60s. Has the curveball, rise ball, screwball, and a changeup. A senior from Norco, California, just east of LA. 2-2 blasted to center, and it lands on the Washington W. A 2-out single for Bojan. A couple of hits in the frame for Wisconsin, but they still trail by 1 after the runner leaving early.
Take away the runner leaving early, and we would have either had ourselves a first and third situation, or that runner could have come around to score. So a costly mistake by the Badgers that could have scored a run.
Leadoff hitter Olivia Bark at the plate. Takes one for a strike, and this series is really going to be won on the margins. You look at yesterday's game too. Washington doesn't push that game all the way to the 10th, if not for an unearned run. And Salo only gave up 2 earned runs in the 10-inning contest. Tony charges, throws high, DeBoer leaps, and gets the toe back on the bag. Wisconsin is instantly asking for a review, but for now, the Huskies have escaped the second.
The previous play is under video review.
Heather Tarr and Lance Glasso chatting in front of the Husky dugout. Tarr, of course, a legend here on Montlake as the winningest coach of any sport in UW history, and right now she's awaiting the final call from the top of the second. And it is indeed an out at first base. Alexis DeBoer able to get the toe down, and Washington will cling to their 2-1 lead going to the bottom of the second.
That was an athletic play by DeBoer. Tony having to come in on the chopper. That ground ball hit the ground early, so good read by Tony, collapsing on it, throwing on the run, but the throw taking Alexis DeBoer in the air. A nice feel by DeBoer, able to get her foot down in time to secure the third out of the inning. And that's a tough play to make when you don't have a safety base. So here we're playing with one base. Sometimes at stadiums, you'll have the safety base. I definitely preferred a safety base as a first baseman, as a hitter. It just alleviates some of those collisions that we'll see on plays just like that.
And that was perhaps the closest that Washington has come to an error this weekend. Now they've played a dozen innings defensively without an error. Meanwhile, Wisconsin with 3 miscues in the field. Washington came in with the 4th best fielding percentage in the Big Ten. Heather Tarr has said that pitching and defense have been the signature of this program for quite some time. Gabby Toney leads off for the Huskies in the second, getting her 19th start of her freshman season.
Tony didn't get the start yesterday in game 1 of the Friday rubber match, but ended up coming in midway through and now gets the nod today on Saturday.
Tony 0 for 3 in yesterday's contest, but she reached twice on errors. Did a good job of putting the ball in play sharply. And she did score on a sacrifice fly in the 5th inning, getting the Huskies only run through the first 7. 2 balls and a strike.
And I'm liking what we're seeing out of Tony on defense. As a freshman, probably didn't expect to start when she was recruited, as she had Riley Holtorf in front of her, who later transferred to Florida, but now getting her opportunities early. And so as she's kind of growing and maturing into her role, we're seeing some pretty elite defensive plays out of her.
And Heather Tarr acknowledged that Washington's counting on her to mature and grow pretty quickly here as a true freshman.
Yeah, her story as a Husky, probably starting off a little bit differently than she expected, but making the most of it thus far.
Count runs full. And Tarr said that they have made defense a priority with Tony, and with that left side of the infield, they want to make sure they have a rock-solid shortstop, whether it's her or Peshek out there.
Yeah, we've seen third base be pretty consistent with Giselle Alvarez. The only other third baseman that we've seen, we saw Jane Gardner a couple weeks ago. She got the start in Idaho. Her first career start at third base as Giselle Alvarez was out due to injury, but since she's been back, Alvarez has been a rock over there at third, and we've really seen 2 shortstops this season. A lot of Riley Peshek. We saw her get the start last night, and then today we're seeing Gabby Toney getting the start, game 2 of the series.
Tony, a 2-time All-KingCo selection at Inglemoor High School. KingCo being King County for those Badger fans out there and Midwesterners. Three-2 offering. And Tony draws a leadoff walk in the second. Jacobson, the little lack of control to start this outing. Normally a pitcher who issues very few free passes, but she's given up 2 bases on balls and 1 hit by pitch. And Yvette Healy might be ready to make a change. And Jacobson heads to the dugout, and Healy will turn to someone else in the circle. Gabby Salo has really been the star for Wisconsin so far this season. And this has been the trouble, finding that number 2 that they can really count on against tough Big Ten opposition. And here they're going to turn to Shelby Jacobson.
2 Jacobsons, not related, just sharing the same last name.
It's a very Wisconsin problem to have, very Midwestern.
Yeah, so few innings on the season, just 15.2 coming into this game, so not a lot of experience, but throwing a little bit of a wild card for these Washington Huskies, trying to provide a different look. We have yet to see Jordon Felci, the left-handed pitcher for Wisconsin. We've seen Kendra Lewis at the plate, but we have yet to see her in the circle, but Shelby Jacobson takes over here in the second.
The junior from Chicago will be making her 9th appearance of the season. All of them out of the bullpen. Has a great ERA at 2.68, but she's only thrown 15 2/3 for the season. She did throw a lot last year. Started 13 games, tossed up 100 total innings, the second most on the team. Over 29 appearances, finished with an ERA just below 6. So she has plenty of Big Ten experience. And her outing will start against Jade Bubke. Tony's on first after the leadoff walk. The 1-0 from Shelby Jacobson. Well, the first inning and a half here today, Brooke, have been as long as what? The first 4 innings yesterday?
Yesterday worked pretty fast. And today certainly working fast on the scoreboard.
2-0, Bubke takes. And certainly keeping the infield on its toes.
We saw Molly Jacobson earlier get the start, primarily working down in the zone with a drop ball, inducing a lot of ground balls. And now mixing it up with Shelby Jacobson, primarily working more up in the zone, spinning it up with her curve and her, her rise and her screw.
High hopper to third. Blomberg throws down to second. Crane on the turn. Bubke beats the throw, but Wisconsin does get the lead runner.
Back to the top of the order for the Huskies, the left fielder, number 17.
Some clean defense from the Badgers, and now Jacobson will get the top of the order. Ava Carroll has been fantastic this weekend, 4 for 5 at the plate. The Husky left fielder singled her first time up, crossed 1 of 2 runs for the Huskies in the first inning. Washington's offense as a whole scoring almost 6 runs per game, but they've popped off here over the last couple weeks. Entering this series, they had 9 runs per game over their last 5, and it seems like they're turning a corner.
And we're seeing this defense right now playing Ava Carroll more as a bunter and a hitter. So typically when you're playing the slap, you've got the shortstop shifted a little bit more in the 5-6 hole. But right now, Hubbard, the shortstop, pinched up the middle, covering the steal and trying to turn a double play.
Carroll takes inside, 3-1. Based on how yesterday's game went and the tight nature of this contest, seems like both defenses will continue to put every run at a premium as they consider how to align. A couple of walks in the inning, one issued by each Jacobson. Bubke down to second with only 1 out.
Next up for the Huskies, the first baseman number 16, Alexis DeBoer.
And now Alexis DeBoer gets an opportunity with 2 runners aboard.
DeBoer tripled her last time up, sending one down the right field line into the corner. What I like about DeBoer's swing is just how simple it is. It's simple, short, straight to the ball, not a lot of extra movement. That's something that's so key as you worked and learned to adapt to different pitchers who are providing different looks. From Molly Jacobson, your first at-bat tripling, and now seeing Shelby Jacobson for your second at-bat.
2-0 is on the high and outside corner. Do you think part of the reason that Yvette Healy decided to make that change early was so that the lineup wouldn't even see Molly Jacobson a second time?
It's certainly possible. I think Molly Jacobson was working behind at some counts and was leaving some pitches a little bit too far over the plate. So certainly a good time to make a switch as you approach second time through the lineup. We saw that last night with the Huskies making the switch to Reimer as we approach that lineup again for the Badgers.
DeBoer turns it foul. The freshman has been outstanding in Big Ten play. Entered this weekend batting .500 and slugging .938 in conference contests. Originally from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Skies this one to center. Lucy sets up camp and corrals out number 2.
DeBoer just missing under that on time as she sent it out to center field, but just missing that one. This pitch well plated, more so on the outer half, but like I said, just getting out in front, dropping that barrel under the ball and sending it as a pop fly to center field.
Jaden Glab takes the first pitch upstairs. Glab had a productive out her first time up, grounding to the shortstop, but she brought home DeBoer after the freshman's triple.
Glab, a patient power bat, willing to work her walk if that's what's given to her. Walking twice last night.
One of the 4 returning letter winners for the Huskies, a sophomore from Dubuque, Iowa. The first Iowan to play softball here on Montlake. Batted .214 last year as a freshman. Now she's got a 3-1 count. We've talked about this at earlier points in the season, but Glad was kind of resigned to the fact that she might not be a catcher anymore, buried on the depth chart last year, and now she's worked really hard to get a starting spot. Hard hit grounder to second. Crane bends down, gobbles it up, throws over to first, and ends the frame. No runs, no hits, a couple of walks, so the Huskies strand a pair and hold on to their 2-1 lead after 2 in Seattle.
Big Ten sports action never stopped with the biggest fans of the best sports conference in the country, Big Ten Plus. Thousands of non-televised live games and events across the Big Ten. Next day on-demand game replays of televised and non-televised events. Multi-view to watch up to 4 games at once. And the 24/7 channel for your favorite school. So don't just follow the Big Ten action this season.
Unbelievable.
Hurl yourselves right into the middle of it. Download the Big Ten Plus app today.
That's a double. Seattle Saturday, that is exactly what dreams are made of. 65 degrees and sunny here for Game 2 between the Badgers and the Huskies. And there you see the 15th year head coach of Wisconsin softball, Yvette Healy. She's guided the Badgers to 6 of the program's 9 NCAA tournament appearances. Previously served as head coach at Loyola Chicago for 7 years. Also assisted at her alma mater, DePaul, so a long time in the Windy City before moving a little farther north to guide the Badgers. It's the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for Wisconsin in the third, facing off with Stevie Hansen. Quite a few pitches for Hansen as she gets into this third inning of work. Her 2-0 for Schlosser, called for a strike. And the Badgers do have 5 hits already. They've shot themselves in the foot, though, offensively a couple of times.
Yeah, Schlosser with one of those extra base hits in the first, the double. We saw Hansen to the wall.
And Schlosser crossing that only run for the Badgers, coming home on a Kendra Lewis single. But the first inning ended on a runner's interference, and a runner was called out for leaving early in the second, negating a potential run.
Nice screwball there by Hansen. Having a screwball as a right-handed pitcher, throwing to left-handed hitters is something that you're able to expand the zone a little bit more than if there was a right-handed hitter in the box. You allow it to run off your hand more organically.
Check swing, did she go? No.
And Durst wanted that screwball right there. She was ready to throw it around.
She'll have to wait at least one more pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes. As Schlosser leads off the third. Chopper to second. Bubke takes it in the breadbasket and records out number 1.
Good job by Hansen there. Being stubborn, sticking to her stuff, owning that arm side, outside part of the plate to Schlosser and just getting her to ground out there deep in the count.
One out, base is empty, and here's Hillary Blomberg.
Definitely a nice leadoff runner off, keeping the speed of Schlosser off the base pass with Blomberg up to bat.
Blomberg coming off one of the best seasons ever for a Badger freshman, and she rips that one through the wickets of Alvarez at third.
Kind of an uncharacteristic miscue by Alvarez. We've seen her just be a rock over there at third base, but that ball by Blomberg just hit so hard and laced down the third base line. Not a lot of time for Alvarez to react on that play.
Blomberg following up on what was a marvelous campaign. Broke Wisconsin's program record for a freshman in doubles and batting average. Hit .365 in her first collegiate season and slugged .631, the second best mark ever by a Badger freshman.
And that last play will go down as an error for Alvarez at third.
So that's the first error the Huskies have committed in this series. And Wisconsin still leading in the hit column 5-2, despite trailing on the scoreboard. 1-0 count for Kendra Lewis. And Lewis is chasing after some of those freshman marks that Blomberg put up a year ago. And the diaper dandy hitting above 400. Pokes that one foul.
Alvarez got closer to that one down the line than I thought she would. Good timing on the dive. Loving the effort, selling out for those kind of freebie foul balls. Trying to make up for the error on Blomberg.
Hansen rocks and throws the 1-2. Slow roller left side. Alvarez swiftly throws a dart to first base. Blomberg advances, but there are two down in the third. So that tying run now in scoring position as Hansen gets ready to face off with Brooke Kuffel. The Badger right fielder 1 for 1 with a base knock. Leaves that one over the heart of the plate. Kuffel second on the team in RBI with 20 of them. In search of her 20th career home run. And there's a big cut, 0-2.
Beautiful arm side rise ball there by Stevie Hansen. That deception that she brings is something that has been adjusted this offseason, tweaking her motion and adapting it to have more of a forward drive off the mound. That forward drive off the mound helps her ball move more consistently with her body being in a more consistent spot. So being able to tunnel the rise with some of her other pitches. Catching Kuffel there swinging a couple pitches ago.
Another 0-2. Heather Tarr said they were really excited to give Stevie Hansen a new beginning. It isn't too new here in her senior season because she's still in the Pacific Northwest. But a new pitching coach, new team, new culture after transferring over from Oregon. And she goes upstairs to strike out Kuffel. Hansen slams the door shut in the third. No runs on no hits. One error, one left.
Beauty of a rise ball here by Hansen, just expanding the zone up with that rise ball, continuing to work for her dogs heading in.
Pitcher changes for the Badgers. Taking over in right field, Kendra Lewis, and taking over at second base, Casey Wiggins.
An unbeatable Saturday afternoon in the Emerald City. 65 degrees, and it's a sun-splashed Husky softball stadium for Game 2 between the Badgers and the Huskies. One of those days where you can see clear out to the foothills of the Cascades, and even Mount Rainier, which often appears just over those evergreen trees on the other side of Union Bay.
Certainly a beautiful day when you can see some boats in the water, people getting their boats out to the launch and taking a cruise on Lake Washington. A couple sailboats over there in left field.
Alicia Flores falls behind 0-2. And Brooke, the last series we did, I said, you know, a kayaker might have to watch out in Union Bay. And you said, there are no kayakers out there. It's 50 degrees. Today, it's not too many boats out there way on the lake, but closer in Union Bay. We got a lot of sailboats and some other paddle boards and kayaks as Jacobson starts the third with the strikeout.
Next up for the Huskies.
I think they're watching the game out there from the sailboat.
You always have to be careful with the device, right? You got to bring the phone in like one of those waterproof bags.
Maybe on the necklace. In case you drop it, it's still secured.
Exactly.
The floaty attached.
Yeah, they have those special necklaces that come down to a phone case, and then maybe you have some wireless headphones so you can listen along. It surely happens a lot during football season.
Yeah. I feel like we got a pretty good seat in the house, but if they're watching the game out there and kind of sunbathing on Lake Washington, I mean, I don't know what beats that.
There is no place I'd rather be right now. And this is truly one of the great settings in college sports, no matter what sport is happening here on Montlake.
Football season. You see a plethora of boats out there, some sailgating going on. So some water taxis will take the boat passengers into the football game.
If I'm ever not in the booth, I'll start that service for softball games. And Alvarez fouls it away.
Jason's water taxi service. Now hiring new employees.
Yeah. Staffing for spring of 2026. Alvarez is 0 for 1 with a fly out to right. Grounder to second, and it gets past Whitten. She's just subbed in there at second base. Couldn't backhand that one, and Alvarez is aboard with one down.
Nice job by Alvarez being on time with that drop ball. We've seen a lot of rise balls out of Jacobson, but Alvarez taking advantage of a pitch down in the zone. A lot of plate, sending it up the middle for a single. Nice execution there by sophomore Giselle Alvarez.
And that brings up Tia Durst. Launches one high in the air. It'll land in the seats. There's probably some bingo players out there in the crowd happy to see one land in the stands. It is bingo day at Husky Softball Stadium. And I don't mean to brag, Brooke, but I do already have bingo.
I need a 5th inning stretch. A player jumps for a catch. So I got a couple more squares to be filled up here.
That's tough. They're making you wait till the 5th.
Maybe I can get a 2nd place prize. You get the 1st place. But we had some people needing the YMCA song to be played for their bingo card.
And they got it during the last break in between innings. 1-1 for Durst.
May or may not have had a knock on the door asking for a song request. So people taking this bingo game very seriously this Saturday.
Well, when you're one spot away from bingo in the 2nd inning, you know you're probably one of those first 50 winners who can scamper down to the marketing table and claim a prize. Alvarez clobbers that one through the hole on the left side. Caught that one right on the barrel, and the Huskies are in business in the 3rd.
Nice swing there by Durst, getting that inside drop ball out in front, hitting it hard past Blomberg over there at 3rd, and passing the bat here to Addie Craig.
Durst has now reached in both of her plate appearances today, a walk and a single. The Huskies with back-to-back base knocks, and Addie Craig will bat next. And Craig trying to discombobulate that Wisconsin defense. Washington looking for some insurance. Neither team has led by more than 1 run at any point in this series. Craig swings over it, 1-1.
Defense all pretty straight up. Infield, outfield here for Craig with 1 out.
Grounded towards 2nd. Whitten decides to go to 1st. Both runners advance. And now there are 2 in scoring position with 2 out.
Whitten took the peak to try and turn the double play, but Durst just too close to 2nd to get the lead out there. Ultimately a good decision. Trying to get Durst could have resulted in the bases being loaded with 1 out.
A big chance for Gabby Toney. The Husky shortstop drew a walk her first time up. Alvarez at 3rd, Durst at 2nd. Jacobson's 0-1. Chop foul.
Good job by Alvarez at 3rd base, making sure her lead is foul, because if she were to be fair and get hit by that ball of Gabby Toney, she would be out, and that would result in the end of the inning. And I feel like this game and this series is really going to come down to which team can do the little things better.
0-2 off the end of the bat, a spinner. That's gloved by Jacobson. She makes the easy flip over to 1st base, and that's it for the Huskies in the 3rd. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, 2 left, and Jacobson gets out of the frame after inducing this little nubber 2-1, Washington in front through 3.
All right, fans, it is now time for the Shuffle Game, presented by Angel of the Winds Casino Resort. Fans, let's see if you can follow the ball. Angel of the Winds Casino Resort. Division escape for the dogs. Escape is closer than you think.
A tight one midway through game 2. Stevie Hansen has thrown a lot of pitches for Washington, but she has limited the damage so far.
Yeah, definitely limited the damage. Looking here, starting the top of the fourth, trying to work ahead and limit the amount of pitches that she has to throw this inning. So trusting her defense behind her, continuing to induce the ground balls and the fly balls. Hansen has a pretty even split between batted balls. Half of them are fly balls, half of them are ground balls. So giving her defense a good opportunity to work here.
Two balls, no strikes for Danielle Lucy, who was called out for runner's interference in her first plate appearance. Had that call gone the other way, Wisconsin would have scored a second run in the first inning and could have extended their rally.
And this is a crucial count here for Hansen. Needing to probably throw a strike, not wanting to work this count 3-1 to the leadoff batter, Lucy.
Great job by Hansen to battle back, 2-2.
We've seen both the rise and the curve thus far.
And she gets another punch out. One away in the fourth.
Beautiful curveball by Hansen. Just nibbling that outer half, freezing Lucy to get the leadoff batter strikeout. Nice job with her motion, coming out straight and working that curveball, staying under it with her hand. Good location.
Hansen.
And right back to it there. First pitch, striking out Lucy on the curveball, coming right at Wells with the curveball.
Yeah, she's in attack mode right now. 3 straight strikes after falling behind 2-0 against Lucy. Now 1-1 for Emmy Wells.
I like the sequence so far to Wells. Starting off early with the curveball, which is going to feel a little bit slower because it's so far away from you, and then working to speed Wells' eyes up with the rise ball arm side. Something unique about this battery is this season, Stevie Hansen has only thrown to Tia Durst. So Tia Durst has caught Stevie Hansen really, really well, where Jaden Glab tends to be able to handle the rest of the pitchers with Rabine, Balk, Ramuno. in Reimer. This is a battery that's comfortable with each other. They trust each other, and they've got a lot of work done together thus far on a lot of Saturday starts. Allows Jayden Glab to work in that DH role.
Rope down the line, tucked just inside the line. Extra bases for Emmy Wells, her second double of the day. Well, these Badgers love their doubles. 3 of them today, 1 yesterday, 64 on the season.
And this just barely staying fair, working all the way to the corner, allowing Wells to make her way around. Carroll did a good job of getting it in quick, but tough to prevent the double when it goes all the way to the corner.
Hansen gets ahead of Ellie Hubbard 0-1. The Badgers out hitting the Huskies 6-4. But Washington with the lead. One 1 for Hubbard. Behind it, 1-2.
That's a big count to win. The 1-1 count is a count that a lot of pitching staffs take a lot of pride in. Batting averages of opposing offenses going down as pitchers are able to win the 1-1 and work it to a 1-2 as we have right now.
Hubbard strikes out for the second time today. Hansen's second K of the frame. And the senior pumping some gas here in the 4th. But in this high leverage spot, Brad Kilpatrick comes out and Washington will make a switch in the circle.
Stevie Hansen will pass the torch to Riley Rabine, a sophomore transfer from Montana, another local kid on this Washington lineup from Battleground, Washington. Complements nicely to all the other pitchers on staff. Is her superpower is her ability to throw 3 different speeds. So she's working today to throw hitters timing off with her rise ball, her drop ball, and her changeup all being at varying speeds. Primarily she's going to stay in the mid-60s, but with her elite movement in 3 different speeds, Washington staff looks to make a change and provide a different look for this Wisconsin lineup.
Rabine coming over to Washington from Montana, where she pitched 92 innings as a freshman last year. Posted a 5.55 ERA with 73 strikeouts, 45 walks. And she's making her first appearance since throwing a week ago at Illinois. Tossed 2 innings against the Illini in what was a 1-game series for the Huskies because Game 2 got rained out and they had to fly back to Seattle. And just the first appearance for Rabine, or I should say second appearance for her, going back to March 14th against Oregon. So she hasn't been in the circle much of late.
And we'll see, like we talked about earlier, the catching change being made. New pitcher that's not Stevie Hansen, so Jayden Glab's going to go ahead and take over behind the dish.
Glab throwing out a couple of runners a night ago. Just some pristine tosses from behind the dish. And Rabine will face the 9-hitter Emily Bojan. 1 for 1 with a single. Bojan, a junior from Chicago, went 0 for 4 yesterday in game 1. And that one's off the mid of Glab, allowing Wells to move up a base.
Rabine just jumping right into the action, coming in with runners on and 2 outs, so her team just needing her to force a ground ball right here.
That was ruled a passed ball, allowing Wells to advance. Tying run 60 feet away. Rabine's 3-0. Grooves it right down the middle.
Rabine hasn't had many opportunities this season. Prior to this, only coming in with 18 inning pitch, so she hasn't really had the opportunities because the other 3, we talked about the 3-headed monster, has kind of been holding down the fort, but her time to shine now.
Swing and a miss, and the count runs full. Infield and outfield deep for the Huskies. 3-2 pitch. Twirled foul.
Expecting probably a lot of action for this left side of the infield with Rabine working with so many different speeds. Finding these hitters out in front and early. Alvarez here playing behind the bag. Tony playing deep, giving themselves some room to range out.
Flared off the end of the bat into the Husky football stadium. A lot more t-shirts today than we usually see in early April at Husky softball stadium. Rabine's 3-2. Called strike 3. The sophomore gets Bojan looking, and the Huskies hold on to the 1-run lead.
Nice job by Rabine, just coming in relief, pulling the string with that changeup and getting her team back in the dugout with a goose egg on the board.
At the University of Wisconsin-Madison, we believe in working together to address real-world challenges. That's why we're proud to help farmers cultivate healthy food and landowners preserve and maintain forest land. We're proud to educate the next generation of teachers and drive groundbreaking medical research. Together, we make an impact that rings loud and clear. One Wisconsin, on Wisconsin.
Huskies up 2-1 as we roll into the bottom of the 4th in Seattle. Bingo day here at Husky softball stadium, and as we noted last inning, a lot of shorts and t-shirts today. It's that spring weekend when every Seattleite digs into the cupboard and finds the sunscreen that they forgot about for the last 6 months and finally puts it to use again.
You said sunscreen. I was thinking tanning oil, trying to get a little bit of a tan on. Probably not getting much today, but we'll take what we can get.
It is truly a perfect spring day here for Game 2. what looked like might be an offensive showcase may become another pitcher's duel. Shelby Jacobson blows that one past Jade Bubke. 1 ball and 1 strike. All 3 runs in this ball game scored back in the first inning. And the pitchers have been lights out since. Off-speed pitch. 1-2.
Jacobson doing a nice job settling in. You can see her composure settling in and continuing to just paint these corners with her change and her drop.
Jacobson starts the 4th with a strikeout.
Beauty of a change there. Those high kind of missed changeups are hard as a hitter because out of the hand it looks like it's a ball and then it just floats in for a strike.
Now forget the top of the order and Ava Carroll. 2 1/3 innings of relief so far for Shelby Jacobson. No runs on 2 hits. 1 walk, a couple of strikeouts. Semi-efficient with 40 pitches so far. And in the batter's box, one of the best weekends we've seen from anyone on either side. Carroll's 4 for 5. With 4 base knocks. Also added a walk today.
Carroll certainly swinging a hot bat, looking to keep it going as this game progresses here in the 4th.
Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This drop ball of Jacobson just falling off the table, catching these Washington hitters, continuing to swing over.
Let's see what she dials up with the 2-2. Decided to bring some heat that time.
Carroll continuing to stay competitive, regardless of how deep this count gets, continuing to fight pitches off. Anything close to the plate now, she's in protect mode.
Got under that one. Blomberg gives chase into the bullpen.
Carroll's seen it all this at bat. She's seen Jacobson's drop, she's seen the up pitch with the rise, and she's seen the change. This is the 7th pitch of the at bat for Carroll.
Jacobson leans in and blows one past the Husky leadoff hitter. Jacobson with back-to-back strikeouts.
At the plate for the Huskies, the first baseman, number 16, Alexis Devore.
Beauty of a pitch here. This drop ball just falling off the table, arm side, catching Carroll swinging with back-to-back strikeouts on the outer half.
Alexis DeBoer got that one off the end of the bat, and it's an easy play for Danielle Lucy. The first time we've seen 3 up and 3 down in game 2 of the series. Easy work for Shelby Jacobson, and it's still Washington 2, Wisconsin 1 after 4 in Seattle.
Huskies. Shortstop number 22, Riley Passion.
The Badger Bats looking to reignite here in the 5th inning. 6 hits in this ball game, but 5 of them came in the first 2 frames, and they haven't scored since the first. Thus Washington still up by 1 as we start the top of the 5th. Olivia Bark leads off. This is the top of the Badger order, facing off with Riley Rabine for the first time today. Bark 0 for 2 with a couple of ground outs. Saws that one off right field. Flores makes the grab near the line for the first down. And Brooke, we've been talking about what an amazing setting this is for college softball. It's going to get even better this summer as a tremendous setting for some professional softball as Athletes Unlimited Softball League comes out here.
Yeah, AUSL will be in Seattle July 11th through the 13th, and you'll actually be able to see 2 of Husky greats that are a part of this league. Both Bailey Klingler competing for the Blaze and Sis Bates competing for the Volts. Other Huskies in the league are Victoria Hayward competing for the Talons, and on the same team, great Ali Aguilar also competing for the Talons. So some local fans are excited to see these Huskies come back as professionals, and you'll actually be able to catch both Bailey and Sis during the Nebraska series. April 26th, they'll be here for a preseason tour, being able to catch some autographs, engage with fans. So a great setting today, but an even greater opportunity this summer.
Rabine ahead of Schlosser 0-2. Yeah, it's the inaugural season of AUSL softball. It's going to run from June 7th to July 23rd. Tickets are already on sale to the general public. You can go to AUSL.com or go Huskies.com if you just want tickets to the series that will be played here in Seattle.
Bit of a traveling gig this year with the teams competing all across the country, competing at a lot of stadiums for these alumni like Sis and Bailey. But next year they'll be a little bit more regionally located. Those locations to be announced later.
And Heather Tarr said she is really fired up to see the game being played at the highest level right here in Seattle.
Yeah, you're excited to see the game grow and just fired up for the game, but no better opportunity for those that live in the Pacific Northwest, Greater Seattle area to watch some of the great softball players all across the country. Kaylani Ricketts will make a debut here in Seattle. Sierra Romero.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and what a perfect time to do it too. The weekend after July 4th. I imagine that the fans here in Seattle are going to show up in full force, but there are also going to be some softball fans from around the country and around the world who want to descend on the Emerald City that time of year to experience the Pacific Northwest and see the very best in pro softball. Schlosser lifts it to right. It's a busy inning for Alicia Flores, who makes her second grab of the frame.
Two flyouts to right, back to back. Schlosser just catching this pitch on the end of her bat. Nice spot and location by Rabine in the circle for the Huskies.
Two down, bases empty for Hillary Blomberg. Takes strike 1. The Badger third baseman is 0 for 2. First team All Big Ten last season. in her freshman campaign. And Rabine has been working ahead in short order. It's 0-2. Facing off against Blomberg, who is ranked among the top 100 players in the nation going into this season by Softball America. That one spills inside. Yvette Healy gave Blomberg a lot of credit for being so tuned into growing the game and giving back to the Madison community, helping so many youngsters with their softball game.
We talked about it yesterday, but she played this summer in that Northwoods League, and she'll continue to do that. But even there, just doing a great job, drawing some attention to that league and giving back as she was once a young softballer.
Playing for the Madison Nightmares. Fun team name, and hopefully that league continues to grow. It started as just a 4-team league. The baseball Northwoods League, I think, with about 20 squads, and hopefully the softball league can expand to more in the upper Midwest.
It's cool for a player like Blomberg to be in that league, because a lot of times those players are players that don't get maybe the innings or the at-bats that they wanted during their collegiate season. So competing in these summer leagues to get some reps under their belt and work, but for a player like Blomberg to put up the numbers she did her freshman year and then continue to compete in that league.
Rabine closes the fifth with a strikeout. Shelby Jacobson had the first 1-2-3 frame of this ball game. Rabine wastes no time in getting a 1-2-3 frame of her own. 4.5 complete. Huskies still up by 1.
All righty then, fans. We are halfway through the fifth, and you know what that means. It's time for the fifth inning stretch, and take me out to the ball game.
Washington up 2-1. As we go to the bottom of the fifth, and Jaden Glab crushes one deep left field, and it's out of here. The first bomb of the weekend, and the first multi-run lead belongs to the Huskies. Dogs on top 3-1.
And Glab getting every inch of this inside pitch, elevating this ball over the fence for her 11th home run of the year. Giving Riley Rabine in the circle a little bit more insurance.
In a series where runs have been at a premium and each game has been a pitcher's duel, a 2-run lead feels a lot bigger than it typically does. Glab's 11th home run of the season, up to 28 RBI now. Well, Shelby Jacobson had put it in cruise control prior to that first pitch of the frame. She had set down 5 in a row. And 3 straight balls after giving up the leadoff home run.
Flores, no stranger to the long ball herself, with 5 on the year.
And it's a 4-pitch walk for Flores. The Badgers want to chat this one over as Mike Roberts comes out to the circle. Roberts, a second-year pitching coach for the Badgers. Previously taught the Husky pitchers here on Montlake from 2015 to 2017. Coached Taryn Alvello during her freshman and sophomore seasons, helped her become an All-American. And right now it's the Huskies with a little dance party in the dugout. Do you know the origins of the unicorn there, Brooke?
I mean, the unicorn, that specific unicorn, not quite sure, but the unicorn itself, kind of a symbol, is everybody's one unique individual coming together to make a unique team, as every team in history is slightly different than one another. But with that home run and that 4-pitch walk, we'll be joined by Jordon Felci in the circle, freshman left-handed pitcher. So she's going to provide a different look to this Washington offense from the left side, the only left-hander on staff. She's going to work with that curveball, drop ball, change and rise, primarily working down in the zone, forcing a lot of ground balls. But something about her, Jason, is she went from 0 wins on the season, kind of getting some innings here and there, and then all of a sudden getting 2 Big Ten wins Friday versus Iowa. So went from 0 to 2 really quickly, and now finding herself trying to get her team out of a jam here.
Yeah, she had a season-high 4 strikeouts against the Hawkeyes last Friday as the Badgers wound up sweeping that series in Madison. And now she enters in a big spot. Felci with a great ERA at 1.95. Although she's only thrown the 14 total innings for the Badgers this year. And like the other Badger pitchers, great accuracy. Only 3 walks issued in the 14 frames. Her day starts against Giselle Alvarez with Alicia Flores at first base, nobody out in the 5th.
Something I'm noticing, which I don't feel like I see a lot of out of a left-handed pitcher, is where she's starting on the mound. So she's starting all the way on the right-handed side. We see the drag marks and the toe indent, but those are all from right-handed pitchers. A lot of times lefties will start on the other side. Providing a little bit of an angle to work with that curveball. Jason, I don't think I've ever met a left-handed pitcher without a curveball being their best pitch. I feel like every lefty in the country, they've all got a curve and it all works pretty well.
Talk about unicorns. And something unique potentially is Felci almost blew that one past Alvarez, but the third baseman stays alive.
So with this curveball, you'll notice her starting, like I said, on the right side of the mound. And if you watch her stride leg, when she's throwing her curve, that is, she's going to step across her body to create a little bit of an angle for that curve to work on.
Alvarez creams this one to right field, And Lewis reaches up and snares it out of the air, taking extra bases away from Alvarez, just in front of the warning track.
Good swing on this curveball on the outer half, getting it out in front and getting all of it. But Lewis just having a great first step and angle to that ball. Without a good first step, I don't think she gets that, and runners are probably able to advance to third.
Instead, Flores stays at first, one down, and Tia Durst is at the plate.
And lefty on righty matchup with that curveball can be a little bit of a difficult look for right-handed hitters, as she's able to work that backdoor curve away from you as a right-handed hitter and then working on the plate. So as a hitter, you just have to trust that it's gonna come back over the plate into your barrel.
Durst behind 0-2. She's the one Husky who also played in the Northwoods League last summer on the Madison Nightmares. Actually teammates with Danielle Lucy and Hillary Blomberg. Durst was named an All-Star at the end of the season. Leaves the 0-2 up high. Durst with a walk in addition to that single in the third. Gets a piece, still 1-2.
Loving how Felci's able to work this curveball on both sides, nibbling the outer half with the back door, but then able to shove the curveball in on the hands of Durst, trying to break this behind her back knee.
That time tries to slide it into the back door, but misses off the plate. Outfield and infield deep for Wisconsin. Trailing by 2 after the Jaden Glab homer. Turned foul, and Heather Tarr shuffles out of the way.
And that's exactly what you want to do with that curveball coming in on your hands. Got to get it out in front. If you get jammed, you're likely to produce a ground ball, kind of a weak ground ball to the right side. So key here, if she's hunting that glove side curveball, to get it out in front and send it to left field.
Check swing. She held up. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Nice battle here by Durst, continuing to fight off pitches.
Three-two. This is down low, and the Huskies have 2 aboard in the 5th. And Washington is prepared to pinch hit here for Addie Craig. Charity Seva Atasi, who was the hero last night, delivering a 10th inning walk-off double to secure game 1.
And Seva Atasi, no stranger to this pinch hit role. Last night was in the lineup consistently in the DH role. But this pinch hit role is a tough job to do, knowing this is the one and probably only opportunity you're going to get offensively, trying to make the most of it here.
Rips the first pitch foul.
She's had a lot of success in this pinch hit role thus far, which says a lot about her ability of being prepared before her name is called. She's ready when head coach Heather Tarr tells her to get her helmet and her batting gloves on, but she had a pinch hit go-ahead single in game 3 versus the Ducks earlier. Pinch hit off of Rutgers.
And that at-bat against Oregon, in which she singled down the left field line, wound up being the game winner, putting the Huskies ahead in the 6th before the Dogs sealed the deal in the 7th.
Definitely a tough role to be in, but doing a fantastic job in it.
Seva Atasi obliterates this one to left field, and you'll need some flippers to fish that thing out of the lake. A pinch hit, 3-run bomb. Seva Atasi comes up clutch again, and the Huskies go up by 5.
Charity just clobbering this pitch. Sky-high home run in the pinch hit role. We saw her as the hero last night in the 10th inning, and now the home run hero today in the bottom of the 5th, giving her dogs a little bit more of a lead. Husky fans on their feet barking.
The complexion of this one has changed in a hurry. Neither team had led by more than a single run through 14 innings of softball this weekend, and now Washington up by a handful. Riley Peshek's pinch hitting here for Gabby Toney, as Washington looks to jumpstart the offense again with the bases emptied.
Peschek, a versatile hitter with some above average speed that we'd like to see if we can get her on. Another local kid on this Washington roster.
Batting .246 for the season. And she's not even going to leave the box here. Felci does throw it over to first base, but Mark Maciel, our home plate umpire, calls for time for a foul ball.
I mean, it looked like it hit off of her foot or her shin, but she's walking around pretty good. So must have maybe barely clipped the toe.
If it didn't hit her, it was a really good acting job. 1-2, fouled straight back.
Peschek just missing that one. As a pitcher, if a batter is able to foul something off straight back, knowing that they just missed that, so Felci having to do a good job here on this next pitch of spinning it and hitting her spot.
The transfer from Montana awaits a 1-2, sits on it, rips it to right field. Lewis lays out and hauls it in. The second time this frame that she's taken extra bases away from the Huskies.
Beautiful catch on a pitch in the river. Great timing of the dive and snagging it snow cone style. Lewis showing out for her Badgers.
The Badger outfielders have been plus defenders this weekend in a big way. Lucy in center, several different players in right field, mostly Schlosser in left. And Lewis ensuring that the Washington lead doesn't balloon beyond 5 for now. 1-0 pitch for Jade Bubke.
Yeah, Lewis ultimately stealing a base hit from Peschek.
Bubke's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. As Felci misses in the dirt. Well, the hit column here is even, 6 aside. The big difference, Washington has strung together a ton of offense here in the 5th. Couple of home runs, couple of walks, and they capitalized on those free passes.
Both home runs by Washington from both Glab and Savatasi, towering over the left field fence. Both curveballs glove side for Felci that they're just able to get out in front, stay through, and elevate out of the park.
Bubke stays alive.
You really have to get all of the ball to send it out of the park here. There's no elevation working to your advantage that you see sometimes at stadiums across the country.
Especially on the West Coast, where some of the schools are located at significant elevation. Not the case here in Seattle. 2-2 is downstairs, full count.
It's a stadium with no elevation to your advantage, but it's a stadium that a lot of times hitters like to hit at, because with those dog eyes in center field, it provides a nice consistent color behind the batter's hip when you're trying to pick up the ball.
3-2 in on the hands and flared into the stands. And one of the fans getting a few boos because somebody had a fan catching a foul ball on their bingo card.
He had it, and then he didn't.
Always bring the leather. 3-2. And the inning is extended on the walk. The Huskies will go back to the top of the order, having already scored 4 runs this frame. Ava Carroll has been on a tear. 4 for 6 this weekend. All of those hits singles. And she added a walk earlier today, too. And she got all of that one, but tugs it foul.
Lefty on lefty matchup. Something that Ava Carroll hasn't seen a lot of this year, facing majority right-handed pitchers for opposing teams.
Small piece there, no balls, 2 strikes. As the freshman Felci tries to wiggle out of the 5th. Tough spot for the first year out of Staten Island. And the Huskies started this frame with some momentum, and they've only increased it from there. Can of corn to shortstop, and Hubbard brings it in to finish the frame. But the Dogs cross 4. A couple of home runs, and Washington has broken this thing open at 6-1.
Why do people come to the University of Washington? They come here to find people who will inspire them, move them, change them. They come to solve big problems and prepare for careers where they can make a difference. They come to cheer on their Huskies in the greatest setting in college football. If you want to change the world, this is where you start. For passion, for possibility, be boundless.
All right, fans, in the bottom of the 5th, both Jaden Glab and Charity Savatasi went deep. That means it is time for some Husky home run t-shirts. T-shirts are being tossed to the loudest fans in the stands. Look it up and get down right now if you want to go home with a free t-shirt. And with that home run as well, it's time
The PNW broccoli guy living it up in the center field bleachers. And he's ecstatic right now because last inning produced a lot of runs. I already did that once this season.
That.
Yeah, the joke's going to spoil eventually. But yeah, a local supporter of a bunch of different Seattle area sports. And Eventually his arms get tired from holding up Broccoli in both arms, so apparently he's reserved to just the one now. 6-1 Washington as we hit the top of the 6th.
Do you think he goes to the grocery store before the series, before every game?
If he's back tomorrow, we're gonna ask him beforehand.
I feel like he needs a punch card at QFC or something. Buy 5 broccoli, get 1 free.
Eventually they're gonna have it at the concession stands here. Not your typical game day snack. But
Now we
he's
had the
just
2 going
changing
there.
the game. Yeah. Kendra Lewis leading off for the Badgers. 1-1 count. What does the approach look like for Wisconsin here? Before you could think small ball, you're down by just 1. Are you still just trying to string together hit after hit after hit, or do you get a little more aggressive and think about extra bases?
I mean, I think sometimes when you're thinking extra bases, sometimes your swing gets out of hand. You're taking bigger swings, maybe swinging at pitches outside the zone. So I still think the approach has got to be, how many ground balls up the middle can I hit? How many batters can we get up to bat this inning? Thinking, okay, can we get Bojan up to bat this inning? But really being able to execute on the runners that do get on. Wisconsin's left plenty of runners on base, so they've had their opportunities to score thus far, but unable to bring more than 1 in today.
Rabine starts the inning with a strikeout, and you're dead on about runners left on base. Wisconsin has stranded 5. The Huskies, too, have stranded 7. And finally, they cashed in last inning, scoring 4 and not leaving a bunch of runners on. But the first, the second, the third, the Huskies left 2 on, and Wisconsin left at least 1 runner on in each of the first 4 frames. And this is Brooke Kuffel, now facing a 1-1 count. Kuffel re-entering for Whidden. Rabine snipes the outer edge.
Just like how she's been settling in. Able to pitch a little freer given the 5-run cushion your offense has provided you.
That gives a pitcher a little more confidence to pitch freely too. When you know any pitch can't tie the game, now you have this big cushion to work with.
Yeah, sometimes in these tight games, you're trying so hard to not miss your spot, but that causes you to tense up and ultimately just miss over the plate. So her ability just to stay loose, keep her arm loose, trust her stuff, trust her spin, as she's able to work both up and down in the zone with 3 varying speeds.
Two-two pitch for Kuffel. And that one gets away from Rabine. A really solid relief appearance for Rabine so far. 1 2/3. No hits, no runs, 3 strikeouts, no walks. In fact, she's set down 5 in a row. And that run comes to an end here as Kuffel turns it down the line and left. A 1-out single, the second hit of the day for Kuffel.
Nice swing there by Kuffel. Just getting this pitch out in front. Pretty good pitch by Rabine, getting it in on the hands, but Kuffel able to recognize it early, getting it out front, sending it to left. But nice job by this Husky defense, able to contain Cuffle just to one bag.
So Wisconsin's pinch running for Cuffle here as Lucy gets ready to bat. We featured this yesterday, but Lucy with the special Seattle connection. Her great uncle, Gene Brabender, playing for the Seattle Pilots back in 1969. And Lucy has made some sensational plays here near her great uncle's old stomping grounds. A couple of nice grabs in center, and she threw out a runner trying to tag from third in yesterday's ball game. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pinch runner there is Hannah Conger, freshman from Gurnee, Illinois, in the northern suburbs of Chicago. Also pinch ran in yesterday's game.
Beauty of an arm side pitch there. Lucy taking it for a strike. Rabine getting out the paintbrush, painting that corner.
And she continues to nibble away at the edges. It's a very fine paintbrush that she's working with. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lucy swings over it. Rabine tallies her 4th strikeout.
Beautiful pitch right over the heart of the plate, but that speed change, Lucy not able to catch up to it in swinging through it. Adding on for another K for Rabine.
Emmy Wells takes ball 1 upstairs. It's pretty impressive what this Washington pitching staff has done so far this weekend. Wisconsin scored 7 runs or more in 2 of the 3 games last weekend against Iowa.
Yeah, this is a Washington pitching staff who is going to continue to pitch by committee, and we've seen that all season thus far. They've got 3 arms, really 4 now, with Rabine throwing so well that can start and close. And so key for this pitching staff, all of them being new, 1 freshman in Morgan Reimer and 4 transfers, is really just not making the game bigger than it is. So not playing the opponent, but just trusting your stuff. We've seen that earlier be tested with Stevie Hansen playing her former team, the Oregon Ducks, in week 1 of conference play, and Sophia Ramuno playing her former squad, Cal Poly. So continuing to just play your game, trust your stuff, and that's really where the success happens.
The depth of this pitching committee, too, bodes well for a potential postseason run when you potentially have to play 4 games a lot of weekends.
Yeah, and you have 4 different pitchers that do a lot of different things. You have Ramuno that's going to kind of gas you up with her velo, going to work up in the zone. We saw Hansen with her upspin and her curveball. And now Rabine showing off her multiple speeds. Reimer's been primarily a drop ball pitcher this year for the Huskies. She has the ability to throw up in the zone with her rise ball, but really her drop ball just complementing the upspin rise ball of both Ramuno and Hansen. So Reimer's been great in relief.
Rabine rocks the 2-2. Belted back up the middle and past Peshek. Couldn't quite get the glove on it. And Wisconsin extends the frame.
Nice pitch on the outer half by Rabine. Pest check, just missing it by inches. Wells probably knows she didn't get all of it, but enough to get over to first safely.
Ellie Hubbard to the plate, swings at the first pitch and rips it foul. And this game of inches will sometimes bless you and sometimes it will hurt you. And that's another play where Wisconsin is thinking a few inches to the left and we're back in this ball game. The Badgers out hitting the Huskies 8-6. But they have not cashed in the way the Huskies have. 0-1 is turned foul.
Hubbard, a player we talked about yesterday. She came on to this Wisconsin team as a recruited walk-on. Got beat out a little year, but has really grinded it out and worked hard to become the player that she is today.
Called strike 3. Riley Rabine adds to her season high, now 5 strikeouts, and she escapes the top of the 6th.
Hey, folks, be sure to join us right back here at Husky Softball Stadium tomorrow at 11 a.m. for Sunday, Monday, as Dogs take on the Storm in the final game of this Big Ten softball matchup. Kids, make sure to come early. Get your face painted, spin the wheel for prizes, take photos with Dogs, and stay after the game for full screens, autographs, and to run the bases.
The Husky Bats, a sleeping giant until the 5th inning, and they've been awoken from their slumber. 4 runs, including a couple of homers in the 5th, and the Dogs now with a 6-1 lead in Seattle. And the Huskies benefiting from a couple of walks in that frame. And Charity Seva-Atasi with a 3-run bomb after Flores and Durst both got free passes. And now the Dogs with a comfortable lead as we hit the bottom of the 6th. Maddie Bellevue is the new pitcher here for Wisconsin. A freshman from Riverside, California. And she gets a tall order facing off with Alexis DeBoer. DeBoer spanks it down the line, but foul. The freshman from South Dakota is 1 for 3 in this game with her first triple of the season. DeBoer hits a deep fly ball center field. This one's a skyscraper, which Lucy corrals for out number 1.
Such a loud out there by DeBoer. With the height of that fly ball, DeBoer just missing that by, dare I even say, an inch, probably less than that. Sky high, out of the frame of the camera is how high it was, just missing a lot of these pitches.
That thing would have gone over the Husky eyes if she connected. Jaden Glab homered last time up, sparking the rally in the 5th. A solo shot, her 11th home run of the season.
So not a lot of innings for Maddie coming into this. Prior to this, appearance, only seeing 1.2 innings.
That one sawed off down the line and right, and it lands harmlessly in foul territory.
Coming in different times throughout the season to get her team out of a jam. Saw her early February for 0.2 innings against Ole Miss, and then a little later with an out versus Troy and an out versus Purdue and 1 out versus Michigan. So not a whole lot of experience thus far for Maddie, but looking to help her team out here.
And she won a state title at Hillcrest High School. Was also first team All-State. Majoring in journalism at Wisconsin. Here's her 2-1. Finds the inner edge.
And this is a pitcher just as a hitter in general, this probably isn't the pitcher that you spent the extra work training on the machine, watching the film. So this just goes back to trusting your eyes, trusting your swing, and really the approach here is just finding a good pitch you can drive. It can be easy sometimes to get outside yourself and stress out about we didn't watch film or we didn't have her in the scout, but at the end of the day, everyone was recruited here for a reason, bringing a plethora of talent, so just trusting that here.
Glab's made pretty good contact a couple of times. Just needs to straighten it out.
Glab got the home run party started last time.
Hits it on the ground to short. Hubbard sidearms and gets out number 2.
Next up for the Huskies.
A nice work by Maddie thus far. Getting Alexis DeBoer to fly out. And now the home run hitter, Jaden Glab, getting her to ground out into her defense, doing a great job coming in for relief, and now she'll have to deal with 6-year senior Alicia Flores.
Flores crushes one foul. She's 0 for 1 in this ball game, a couple of free passes and a strikeout.
Come on, Flo!
The Huskies on the verge of extending their winning streak to 8 games. Wisconsin came into this series with momentum, having swept Iowa last weekend, but the wind taken out of their sails so far in Seattle.
Bellevue working up in the zone, a spot that Flores loves to get her barrel to. A unique ability to square up some pretty high pitches.
Two down, bases empty here in the bottom of the 6th. As Bellevue deals the 1-2. Well, that one might get wet, but it's not going to count for anything.
And that's that pitch I was talking about earlier, that rise ball arm side, running up and in on the hands of Flores. Flores doing a nice job of getting her barrel up there, flattening it out. There we see it again. Bellevue trying to climb the ladder, but Flores has the ability to continue to square up and get to some pretty high pitches that a lot of hitters are unable to get their hands up to successfully. We've seen some home run power for Flores on the rise ball.
And that one spills inside and hits Flores. Bellevue a pitch away from a 1-2-3 frame. Instead, she'll have to face another Husky hitter.
That's the third free pass that Flores has gotten. Her first at bat in the first inning, hit by pitch. A walk in the fifth, and now another hit by pitch here in the sixth.
Well, Washington is awfully tough to beat on these grounds. Since 2018, the Huskies are 106-25 at Husky Softball Stadium. And for road opposition, it might get even tougher now that you have to travel a couple of time zones to play a conference game here in Seattle. Alvarez takes that one for a strike. And the Huskies playing so many great games at this ballpark. Yvette Healy compared this weekend to kind of an NCAA tournament feel. She said you have great competition, you have a ballpark that hosts a lot of regionals, you got a long trip, just a lot of elements that make it feel like a postseason series. Oh-2 for Alvarez, and she chases up high. A clean inning for Maddie Bellevue. And she holds the deficit at 5 as we head to the 7th in Seattle. Washington up 6-1 in game 2, and the Huskies are just cruising along with the current here on Montlake.
I think that's a dog out there with a life jacket. Dogs out there supporting dogs on the water, wagging tail.
That's why they call it Husky Harbor, right? Hopefully the furry guy can enjoy a dip out in Union Bay. Top of the 7th, Wisconsin needs at least 5 here. And it starts with the 9-hitter, Emily Bojan. Riley Rabine still in the circle. Having thrown 2 1/3 innings of relief of scoreless ball. Just 2 hits against Rabine, 5 strikeouts, a season high. And she gets ahead 1-2.
Rabine doing a great job of just tunneling her different speeds. So 2/3 of the way down, all of these pitches are looking the same, but then they're breaking off at varying speeds. So a tough thing as a Badger offense to pick up out of Rabine's hand with all of them coming out of the same slot. Hard to tell, is it the hard, is it the slow? Am I gonna have to keep my weight in my backside longer to be able to stay through something?
Rabine runs the 1-2 inside and catches Bojan around the ankle. A leadoff hit by pitch. And it's just the second time today the Badgers have put the leadoff batter aboard. The Badgers will pinch run here. Emma King has come in for Bojan as the Huskies conference and focus in on finishing this one out. Top of the order here for Wisconsin with Olivia Bark. King takes off with that pitch in the dirt. The Huskies are more focused on just getting the batter out in this instance.
Yeah, in this situation, you're just looking to collect outs. You're not so worried about that run scoring as you have a 5-run lead, but more so looking to collect outs quicker.
A laser beam right at Alvarez, who gloves it for the first out. Cat-like reflexes from the Husky to bring it in.
Right at her. Nice swivel by Alvarez. We saw that little pre-pitch hop, keeping her feet in rhythm. As that ball is crossing the hitting plane, Alvarez's feet are touching the ground and she's ready to swivel just like we saw there. Some great Husky D plays on showcase today in Seattle.
And that brings up Molly Schlosser. Badger left fielders 1 for 3 with a double back in the first inning. The Badgers with a trio of doubles today and 8 hits, but only the 1 run.
Exceptional speed out of King over there at second. We saw her last night get called on leaving early. So I'm sure something that she had been talked about, staying on that bag.
I mean, there's just no point in risking it in this situation. Trailing by 5.
Yeah, you always as a base runner kind of want to push the line. Definitely not wanting to leave late, but we've seen some runners leaving just too early.
Rabine makes it 2-2.
Nice back-to-back change by Rabine. The first one painting that inside corner to Schlosser and just trusting your stuff, going back-to-back with the change.
Her 2-2 pitch. Another strikeout for Rabine. She's collected 6 this afternoon.
Nice off-speed pitch there, complementing the changeup nicely. Just enough of a speed difference to throw hitters off.
Badgers down to their last out with Hillary Blomberg, and she crushes one to the gap in left center. It's up and over Carroll. King scores from second, and Blomberg trades places with her. The Badgers tack on their second run today.
Great swing by Blomberg there, taking advantage of that plated pitch and sending it out there to left center field. Trying to keep some momentum going for her Badgers. Good speed, but like I said, a little bit too much plate there by Rabine.
Lewis rolls one left side off the glove of Alvarez. Blomberg will hold at third. No reason to push the envelope there. And there are Badgers on the corners, still with 2 out.
Now that one felt like it should have been, I want to say, Peschek's ball. I'd have to go back and look at where Alvarez was positioned to start with, but it felt like that ball took her too far up the middle glove side. There's a fine line of range of wanting to get it and work the spin play to first, but that'll be it for Riley Rabine as Sophia Ramuno, the transfer from Cal Poly, looks to close it out today for her Dogs. We saw Ramuno last night get the start for the Huskies, going 5 before she passed the torch off to freshman Morgan Reimer, but tonight in that closer role, coming in with 2 out, 2 on. Definitely providing a different look. Washington just really wanting to secure this 3rd out. As a long ball would put this game in be a 1-run ball game.
Yeah, Wisconsin now encroaching on that territory where they're back in the game with the tying run now in the on-deck circle. Ramuno set the tone for the Huskies yesterday. Just 1 run allowed on 1 hit in the 5-inning start, and she posted 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, Ramuno's going to put hitters like we saw yesterday in the air with her high velocity in the mid to upper 60s, that rise ball working up in the zone. The sac fly is no longer in effect with 2 outs.
Hannah Conger's the batter, getting her first AB of the day, and she flares one behind home plate. It's off the net, and Glab couldn't collect it back there.
It was almost a 1-pitch relief for Ramuno there. Off the bat, I thought it was going to do it, but just barely grazing the netting. Jaden Glab behind the dish was there, wanted it.
It's not often you see the ball off the net. It stays in play, and the catcher's trying to make a play on it. As Conger swings through it, 0-2.
Yeah, those are ones you just got to stay with, because the slightest bit of wind and it's back in your glove.
And now the Husky faithful rise to their feet in Seattle. The 0-2. Little high.
Ramuno trying to climb that ladder with a rise ball. Getting Conger down 0-2 early, now working a 1-2 count.
Conger under it. And that one is, again, right along the net.
We talked about it earlier, game of inches. Ramuno smiling, knowing she wants to get the job done here. Two count. Ramuno's kind of out of room glove side, so looking for something arm side to finish.
The righty's ready, her 2-2. Line drive foul. Great battle here from Conger in her first plate appearance of the game. She went 0 for 1 yesterday after pinch running late in the contest. Ramuno rocks the 2-2, swing and a miss. The Huskies collect their 8th straight victory and claim the series against Wisconsin. Washington gets it done on both sides, erupting for 4 runs in the 5th on a couple of home runs, and the pitchers are excellent again in game 2.
Great job by Washington's offense, able to execute on some plated pitches. Great day for some softball, but ultimately that 5th inning explosion, we see Broccoli Man there, lots of smiles, lots of laugh. Washington able to secure Game 2 of the series. Looking for the sweep tomorrow, Sunday.